What is cracking?
What's crack-a-lacking?
Crack-a-lack. Oh, let's do it again. We might as well. It's January. Why not?
Why not? With that extra, it's dark outside when you wake up. It's dark outside when you go to get off work. Let's just sit it back around for a second time.
Might as well.
Let's do it. So.
Oh, what is going on?
No, back out now. You're back out in Cali, right?
I am. Yeah, I've been here since Sunday. Been enjoying these 65 to 67 degree and sunny days since I got back. And it's like into the 30s at night, so it's like awesome sleeping weather. And then it's nice and warm. You can run in the shorts and t-shirt during the day. It doesn't suck.
Now, so you bring up an interesting thing. This might be a dumb question, but I feel like I remember your house in San Francisco did not. Do you have heat and AC in your house in SLO?
We have heat, but we do not have air conditioning.
Okay. Is that how it was in San Francisco also? It
is, yeah. But in San Francisco, we had boiler heat. And here we have gas.
Yeah. How close? I did see what was Monday of this week. I saw where the fires, like you were just on the tippity top north tip of fire hazard. Everything going good?
Oh yeah, I mean we're 3.5 hours north of LA, so
yeah,
Knock on wood.
I did. What's crazy is I saw on the national news it was technically the warning, the little red band had stretched all the way up to Pismo.
Yeah,
so damn.
I think it's because just because of the wind.
Yeah.
And it's dry. I mean, we've had more rain than LA. We had 2 different rainstorms here this winter so far, but LA hasn't had shit. So
yeah.
But it's still cold in Ohio.
Bro, it is single digit wind chill right now in Ohio. It is. Dude. So I had COVID, right? I had COVID and was just under the weather, and I feel great now. I feel great. I cannot force myself to go out and run. I'm just this is one, there's probably, I don't know, 2 to 3 inches of snow, and the roads are a little icy, especially back in the neighborhood I live in.
Right.
And I'm I don't have a race to train for. I don't have anything need. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm I cannot force myself.
Just zero motivation.
Just zero motivation. And then even at night, I was well, I'll go hit the rower, right? Because I have one of those Ergata rowers in my.
Oh yeah, that's
upstairs.
Right. You do.
And I'm I'll go hit the rower. And I'm fuck that rower. I can't get moved. I was golly days. Yeah. And I just got to get something because we talked about it last week before. Forget the PR opened up.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And so I'm going to run a director's race up there.
Ooh.
I
gotta train.
Have to.
You gotta train.
Gotta train for that.
April.
Dude, that's right around the corner. That thing is going to eat my lunch. That thing is going to eat my lunch. Chaz and Pete are going to be so annoyed with me up there sniveling and whining and crying. They're going to be so fucking annoyed. It's going to be ridiculous.
That'd be great. All right. Well, should we dive into some show?
Just just so everyone knows, we're going to do the same kind of layout we did last week. We're going to do some races, then we'll do some news, and then we'll hit the 3 T's. Hang with us. We're going to knock out some runs. We got some really cool races this week too. So
and make sure you stick around for the 3 T's. We're going to talk about blister prevention and care. At least from our perspective, I'm sure
my dumb 2 cents for blisters.
I have some funny solutions too, but we'll get to that. So let me go ahead and get this pulled up. All right. So first race is Bandera. And, Bandera is in Bandera, Texas. And Bandera used to be a Western States golden ticket, 100K. But that is not a Western States Golden Ticket 100K anymore. I think as of like 2 years ago was the last time it was. But Hans Troyer last year showed up and ran the 100K, and he was fairly new on the ultra running scene. It was his first 100K, and he just like dominated. He actually like was really close to beating Walmsley's record at Bandera. And he came back this year for the 50K, and something happened. There was some storms, I think some winter storms in the area.
Yeah.
Yep. And I remember we thought that they might affect the Cotton Bowl, you know.
Yeah.
But still, people showed up. Anyway, so what they had to do was they had to move. Heavy rains forced the event to move from the Hill Country State Natural Area over to Camp Eagle in Rock Springs, Texas. And even though it got moved, there was still over 350 runners that took part in the 100K. And Danny Racine won the 100K in 10 hours and 20 minutes. And Nick Pedersen was second, 11 hours and 21. Stephen Bennett third, 11:48. And in the women's 100K, Amy Jacobs earned the win. She got third overall in 11:33. Shelly Walushka was second, 12:10. And Lila Gondral was third in 12:23. So that was the 100K. Hans Troyer showed back up to Bandera this year, but the 50K, and my guess is it was a warm up for Black Canyon. He's going back to Black Canyon for revenge. I don't know that for a fact, but I just know it's true.
I feel like that's a pretty sound theory, right? Like I feel like that's not a guess. That's a very sound hypothesis, if you will.
So Hans Troyer, and I thought I read somewhere this is a record for the Bandera 50K, but I don't really know how that plays into the whole grand scheme of things since it was moved. But he won the 50K in 3 hours and 46 minutes. Absolutely crushed it. Dude. Alexander Pollock second for the men, 4:23. Ryan Miller third, 4:27. And Allie Hagan was Courtney Rue was the women's winner, finished sixth overall in 5 hours and 3. Allie Hagan second, 6:21, and Catherine Tubb third, 6:40. Now, so my friend Pancho, who lives in San Antonio, he usually runs Bandera 100K. He ran the 50K this year. And when I saw his Strava post for Bandera 50K, the course just like baffled my mind. Like I can't even wrap my head around this, but I'm going to share this anyways and see what you think.
Oh no, shut up.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. Look at that. It's this course like weaves all over the place. Like I don't know how they kept it straight, honestly. And for those of you listening on the podcast, if you can go on to YouTube or Spotify and watch this video to look at this course, it is complete insanity. It's so many turns and trails running right next to each other. I did message Pancho and I asked him how on earth he was able to run that without getting lost or going the wrong way. And he said it was very well marked. He said the whole time he was just looking for the orange flags or whatever. He said twice he almost started going off in the wrong direction, but he said overall it's pretty well marked.
I wonder if there's a way we can. I wonder if there's a way we can post that race at that activity. I wonder if there's a way if we can post that into our Strava group, because that thing is like that doesn't even make sense. Again, like Jamie said, if you're listening on podcast, you go. But like just so you know, there is a place on this race where in theory, you could be running between. You could put your right hand out and your left hand out and high five people.
That's right.
Heading in opposite directions of you
on a different trail.
On a different trail, yes, and like that. It kind of looks like if you were out west somewhere on really 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 bad that switchbacks, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's flat out there. Well, it's not flat, but I mean, shit, it only had 3,900 feet of gain.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
I mean, like, dude, that is crazy.
Look at this one spot, right? You're heading north, and you actually cross over one of the other trails that is going south. And you actually cross over just briefly, and you're back north again. Like, I'd have to see it for myself. I just can't comprehend this.
I can't. Well, and what's kind of funny is when I knew he was talking about Bandera, I went ahead and I opened up, like, 'cause I wanted a refresher. Because I thought I kind of remember this. Bandera itself is a 2-lap, right? It's a 50K. And if you're doing 100, you obviously do it twice.
Right. Exactly.
But at least it is like, I mean, it has some tight sections too, but it's not like that.
It's not like this.
I mean, Bandera, if you look at Bandera's race, the 50K, I mean, there's definitely times where you can easily reach out and touch runners head the other way. And like, I can easily see people getting lost on Bandera's regular course. But that is how here's the other thing that's so wildly kind of weirdly impressive for me. How did Hans run a 3:49 on that? Because
no idea.
You're constantly coming out of turns and having to accelerate it. Like, he basically did like 100-meter wind sprints and then did turns and 100-meter wind. Like, that is the weirdest course.
It's pretty wild. Weird. It's pretty weird. Moving on to are you cool to move on?
Oh yeah.
Okay. The winter spine race. There are some winners of the winter spine race. We're recording a day later this week, whereas we wouldn't have had winners, I don't believe, if we recorded last night, but there are some winners here. Here we go. Kim Collison won overall, and he finished in 82 hours and 46 minutes. Again, this is a 260 some odd mile race on the Pennine Way in England. Goes all the way up to Scotland. And I believe they go north to south. I'd have to double check that, but it's wintertime over there. There's a lot of snow on the course. That's all exposed. They can have high winds. It's a true test of endurance. And John Kelly, the reason we're talking about it is John Kelly was over there racing, and he was actually in the lead group. I was kind of following a race off and on. At one point, he took some sort of shortcut, and he got docked 26 minutes, and then they reevaluated the shortcut that he took, and he ended up only getting docked for 13 minutes. But anyway, he ended up finishing 4th place male, 5th place overall. And I saw that like red mark over there next to his results. Like, I'm like, what is that? But that was his penalty, which I found out today. Dave Phillips got 2nd for the men, 85 hours, 58 minutes. And Tian Irwi, 86 hours and 5 minutes. Lucy Gossage was 1st for the women and 4th overall, 87 hours and 41 minutes. Let's see here. Robin Cassidy was 2nd for the women, 94 hours and 31 minutes. And let's see. Nikki Arthur was 3rd for the women in 103 hours and 36 minutes. Go ahead.
I just want going back to John Kelly. The good thing about the penalty, right, 13 minutes, is it really it really didn't affect his placing. You know what I'm saying? Because he was still 14 minutes. I mean, he would have been like 1 minute closer to Lucy, but he was,
right.
you know what I mean? Like he was still, I mean, he was an hour plus behind TN, you know, it's kind of weird. It sucks he took a penalty, but it would have really sucked if it would have bumped him from like first to second. But I feel like because you sent me that thing about the penalty.
Yeah.
And I could have swore when I read that at the time when he took the penalty, or at the time they assessed it, I think he was in first place. Did I read that right, or did I misread it?
You may have read that correctly. I'd have to go back and look, but he was he was right in that lead group there. So let's see. So in John Kelly, I think he currently holds the fastest known time on the Pennine Way.
I believe so too. Yeah,
but I'm pretty sure he did that in the summer. But anyways, he's still got a top 5 finish. Pretty impressive. There are some other distances at that race. There's a 46-mile. Hannah Bruce and Paul Brennan won that. And then there's a 108 miles on the southernmost end of the trail. Alice Kershaw and James Allen were the winners of that. So let's see what else is going on here. So I don't know if you remember talking last year about this race, but the Avalon Benefit 50-50.
Yep.
The motherfucking Catalina wine mixer.
The motherfucking boats and hoes.
So this race takes place on Catalina Island, and from the pictures I've seen, and it's always in January, right? So there's a 50 mile and a 50K. I totally want to do this race. I really do, but it's gonna require some late season training. Like November, December training for January race. But it looks like it's on wide, smooth dirt, or gravel roads, and it has a decent amount of climbing, but just the views from the pictures just look incredible. And since it was a lot of LA people run this race, they gave the runners option to defer their entry to 2026, but they still had the race. And in the 50 miler, 301 people finished.
God, it's a big race.
Yeah, huge. And Michael Ruff, it's an out and back course for the 50 miler, and Michael Ruff won in 6 hours and 28 minutes. 6 hours and 28. I mean, that's 50 miles. That's, it's pretty smooth.
Yeah.
Nicholas Spector, 6 hours, 42 second. Emilio Sanchez, 6:43 for third. And for the women, Paige Clark won 8 hours, 12. Sarah McMahon, 8 hours, 29. And Ella Warkentine, 8 hours and 34 for third. And then in the 50K, first female was Lydia Van Hoff, and she was 6th overall in 4 hours and 41. Jenny Ramirez, second, 5 hours and 27 minutes. And Gabriela Escobar, 5 hours and 28 to round out the podium. And for the men, Siki Wu won in 3 hours and 58. Matt Powers, second, 4 hours and 3. And TJ Oros, 4:23 to round out the podium. 378 runners finished ahead of the 11-hour cutoff for that 50K. So
11-hour. So I did quickly jump. So a couple things I had forgotten, even from recording this episode last year, I'd forgotten this race is 40 plus years old. This race has been going for a minute. It's an old race. The other thing, I don't know why it kind of slipped my mind, but I was like, oh, let's go look, because you had mentioned like the elevation. The elevation on that thing is 60, well, only 6,600 feet. And so, like you're saying, though, on that buffed out road, man, and so having an 11-hour cutoff, 6,600 feet, dirt roads.
For the 50 mile?
Yeah.
I thought the 11 hours was for the 50K, but maybe it's for both races.
So even if it's 11 hours for the 50K, like, and it's not for the 50 miler, then holy hell, like that's amazing. That's a good.
Yeah.
I now I want to go run that dumb run.
Yeah, and they actually did donate some of the proceeds this year. They donated to, I think, to the Red Cross or something. They donated to something supporting the wildfires. They donated a portion of the proceeds, and this is a benefit run anyway. It's for charity, so
that's definitely a cool race.
Yeah. They didn't have the results on Ultra Running Magazine. I'm not sure if they have the results posted yet or not, but let's see.
Let's see. I'm on their website.
Results, live tracking. Here's 20.
I don't think they do.
Well, maybe we can look at 2024 results and see how 50 mile PDF.
I love it. It's on PDF. It's on PDF and Excel sheets. That's so awesome.
Yeah, right. Okay, so looking here, 50 mile finisher splits, start time, total time, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's people over 14 hours. So I'm guessing you have like 14 hours.
Yeah.
Finish the 50 miler. So pretty generous time limit. I think it would be really fun to go out there just to visit the island and run that race. But again, it's at a weird time of year. You know, it's kind of like taking time off for the holidays and then you're out of shape. So
now the next race we have, I think would be a good one. I think it'd be a fun one for me to go knock out. I think this one would be fun for me.
Yep.
The next one we have up.
Yep. So next race is called No Hands 50K, and this is in Auburn, California, which is, as we all know, is the finish line to Western States. And this is put on by one of my favorite race companies, Inside Trail. I've done a lot. They put on Muck 50. They put on Mount Tam 50K. They put their races are top notch. I really enjoy running their races. I've ran quite a few of them. I volunteered at some as well. And this takes place, like I said, in Auburn, on some of the trails that Western States takes place on. And there was 66 finishers this year.
Jamie, go scroll down and click on the race's little badge. If you scroll down the website you're on, you can click on their actual badge.
Oh, you know what? I'm on the results page. Okay, I'm on that now.
You're sharing. Oh, you're sharing the Scroll down, click on their badge, right?
Yeah.
Here it is. Last row.
Got it. Yep.
All right, click on that. Scroll down a little bit. Down. I am guessing this is the K3 climb. Look
K2.
at that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. A little gnarly.
Yeah. Good times.
Looks like a West Coast version of Big Ass Hill, maybe.
It does. It really does. Yeah. Except
Yeah. So it's kind of a cool course. Looks like it's probably an out and back with a few loops mixed in there. There's like almost 5,600 feet of elevation gain. So, kind of similar to Forget the PR, really, in elevation. Mm-hmm. The climbs are spread out. I'm sure the weather was really good. The weather's usually pretty nice out there in the wintertime. Yep. All right. Let's talk about the results here. Darren Thomas was first in 4 hours and 9 minutes. Matt Collins second, 4:30. Daniel Ising third, 4:52. And for the women, we had Peyton Bilo, 4 hours and 58 for first, and Mi Yang, 6 hours and 11 for second, and Jessica Henning, 6 hours and 16 for third. And that's no hands 50K. And, I think they call it that based on the no hands bridge.
Yeah, I think that's the one pick. Yeah, right there.
Yep. And Western States famously goes over no hands bridge. It's all lit up and at night. It's pretty cool.
It's kind of cool because if you on the little map that they have for the race, like the little interactive map, you can see, you can definitely if you kind of can envision Western States map as it dumps into Auburn, you can kind of see that. Oh yeah, this is it. You know what I mean? Like it's you can definitely see where you're popping up out of.
Right.
This could be a really fun. I think we just found another one for the bucket list for next year.
Gonna have to train in the winter, but you know what? Where I live, that's really not a problem.
Well, the great thing is, right? If I do this race, it's January 11th right now. This race is held January 11th. I mean, I'm really tapering. You know what I mean? Like, basically all December and the first 2 weeks of January, you're tapering. So right when it gets cold, all you really got to do is go out and suffer through some kind of short runs. You know what I mean?
Sure.
You're like, sure. Whatever lie you got to tell yourself.
That's right. That's right. Next race is Frozen Gnome. Whenever we talk about gnomes, I always think of Robbie Gannon.
Robbie Gannon. I
know. Frozen Gnome is in Crystal Lake, Illinois, though, and looks pretty cold. This guy's sliding down a snow hill with shorts on. That's gonna be some nice skin burns there.
Yeah.
Very challenging. Triple black diamond rated fun and frosty run in Crystal Lake, Illinois. It's beautiful single track through a winter wonderland of veteran acres and Stearns Woods. 50K or a 10K. There was 58 finishers this year. Andrew Schroeder was first, 4 hours and 41. Dustin Mitchell second, 4:45. Ben Karizman third, 4:49. And for the women, Rachel Reyes, 5 hours 24 first. Annie Haas second, and 5:38. And Catherine Froelich, 6:54 for the podium. This next race is kind of one of those interesting adventure type races. It's called Lost in Miami. And I really love the concept of this race. It's basically you choose your own adventure, right? So you leave the start line and there's no set route. There's no loops or anything like that. The only caveat is you have to cross back through the finish line before the 18-hour mark. So weird. Whoever does the most miles is the winner. And you have to have some kind of GPS tracking to show proof of the miles at the finish line. Oh, and there's certain landmarks that you have to go to. So it's not like you can just leave the start line, run around the block.
Just back and forth.
Yeah, you can't do that. There are certain landmarks that you have to go to. So you leave the start line, you go to all these landmarks, and then you get back before 18 hours. And if you don't cross back over that finish line at the 18-hour mark, then it doesn't count. So it just seems like kind of a unique adventure. You can plot your path as you go.
It's interesting because they have two winners. It looks like you have the miles. Who did the most miles, right? But then you also have who saw the most landmarks.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yeah, it is a really interesting race.
Yeah, it's an interesting concept. Blake Caligaro was first in 86 with 86 miles, 86 and a half miles. And Karen Lubetsky was first for the women and second overall and with 84 miles. And Sandra Villanes Burris had 74 miles and she got second place for the women and third overall. And tied for third must be like, oh, no, same amount of miles. Vivian Zurichara, third woman overall and third woman and third overall, 74.26 miles as well. So they must have ran together. Jeff D. Chavez was second male, 71.
And so the dude who took second male is the guy that had the most landmarks visited.
Oh, cool.
So he managed to get.
Is this on their race website?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he managed to get to 48 landmarks, but must have been smarter about how he got to them, Blake, or like, I don't know. It's such a weird. I mean, it's weirdly fun kind of race. Like I don't know.
I see 48 landmarks, 38 landmarks.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, so that adds a little twist to it. Yeah, interesting stuff. I wonder if Costume Chick was down there doing this race. She seems like she does all these crazy races.
I feel like this would be a good race for her. I thought, yes, that's right up her alley. This looks like it looks like this was their first year for this race.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, so
interesting.
It's an experimental 50K, but
yeah.
All right. Well, last race we're going to talk about. I just threw it in here because it has a cool name.
That's a great name.
It's the Guv'nor. The Guv'nor Frozen 50. Guv'nor.
Speaking of cold races.
Yeah. This is in Dodgeville, Wisconsin.
Can't even wrap my head around how cold that was.
It just looks cold. It's a 50K. Lucas Barnes won 4 hours and 14. James Lubecki 4:23, and Kelly Chambers 4:27 to round out the podium for the men. And then Megan Ratter first for the women 5:05. Bailey Christorf second for the women 5:17, and Kendra Graper 5:17. Oh, looks like she tied for second, but it's listing her as third. Oh no, I'm sorry. She was 40 seconds after Bailey. So 40 seconds divided second and third place.
That's kind of cool. For those that don't know, Dodgeville, like Jamie said, up in Wisconsin, is basically dead west of Madison. So, I mean, Madison's not far north Wisconsin, but it's far enough up in Wisconsin that, man, that's cold, boy. That's a whole nother world of cold up there.
Yeah, especially this winter. It seems like
it would have been
cold.
God, I'm just not about that life. Not about that life.
I don't mind the cold, but you know, like I did a 50K once in the extreme cold, and that was the Run for Regis. Remember when they used to put that on? And I ran with Chad Heald for the first 26 miles, and then he had to leave. He had to go somewhere, and I finished out the 50K. Oh man, it was like the high was like 15 degrees. Like when we started, it was below zero. It had to be.
Yeah.
I remember. Oh man, it was cold, and it was the start finish area was like a foot of snow, easy, and you had to go like a quarter mile through that foot of snow, and you had to get back to that start finish area like 3 different times. So you had to like trudge through and back. It was crazy.
I do not enjoy running in snow. Like I hate running in snow.
I like a little layer of snow on the trail, like just a little tiny bit, or if it's packed down. But thick snow or frozen footprints, that's annoying.
Yeah.
Hell. All right. So for the FKTs, I wanted to start maybe just, maybe doing an FKT or two every episode. There wasn't too many new ones from when we went over them last week, but one that I found that looks kind of cool is the Five Sisters Loop in New York. And it's just north of Manhattan. If you look at the map, I mean, there's the Hudson River, and there's New York City.
Wait, what? Hold on. Five Sisters?
Yeah.
No, Five Sisters should be way up in the... Is it really?
Well, I mean, I'm sure it's like probably an hour or so, but here's New York City, and up here is...
dude, yeah, that's way closer. Yeah, it's way in my head. In my head, I was thinking like the Finger Lakes.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know
that's
why.
upstate. Yeah.
Yeah, and when you said, "Oh, it's just
that's
outside,"
more on the...
I'm like, wait, what? Like, why am I not?
No, but this is what's surprising to me, that you can be that close to New York City and have a 13.76 mile route that has over 4,000 feet of climbing.
Dude, here's what I really like about about fastest known FKT's website. And like, I mean, this isn't anything special. You can do this with just about any map. But I like that FKT's website defaults to a topo. And so if you know how to read a topo map, you can zoom in on this thing and you can pretty quickly see this is a badass court. Like this thing's got some steepness to it. You know what I mean? Like it's a cool. I bet this is really pretty too.
I was going to say, I bet the views are amazing with the Hudson River right there, and there's all these lakes on the other side. This route hits all the mountains included in the Legend of the Five Sisters story. There's a link to the story. You start with the climb up Bear Mountain, head to West Mountain, the Timp, Dunderberg Mountain, Bald Mountain, before heading back to Bear Mountain parking lot by the ice skating rink coming out of the Suffern Bear Mountain Trail. 13.76 miles, like I said, for over 4,000 feet of climb, like 4,120. And I'm sorry, not Joseph. Yoseph Levin, 2 hours and 25 minutes, crushed the Unsupported FKT. And he beat it by like more than 26 minutes actually. So yeah, cool. Congrats to him.
What the part that's really kind of cool about that also is you would generally think that part of New York at this time of year would be snowy and icy and just like crazy, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know how that dude went out there on January 9th and laid down a 2 hour, 25 minute. You know what I'm saying? Like that's impressive. Like how was it not treacherous? Like that's kind of cool in itself. I find that interesting.
He said he was just testing the route, but was strong enough to just go for the FKT. So he was doing some recce, and he's like, I think I can do it.
He's like, I feel kind of good.
He said conditions were pretty good besides crunchy sinking ground and patches of ice here and there. Wind was wild on this route, but you are sheltered from the worst of it almost the whole way.
This dude has a couple of FKTs too.
Yeah, he does. You know,
this dude's no slouch. You know what I mean? Like this
right. He said what he thought would be the fastest part of the day, going down 77, was kind of slow. The first part was in bad shape and lots of ice, and the road part had a very strong headwind, and also my right ankle started bothering him. He tweaked it earlier. He was worried Doodletown Road would be bad because the last time he was on it was basically a bushwhack. But it must have been cleared at one point, and it's winter, so it was fine, besides one little section that slowed him. Could have done a little more nutrition and water. He only took 250 milliliters and one fig bar. Would have been good to have a couple of gels towards the end and a little more water. That's the other thing I like about FKT website. They always have the people's write-up when when they do it. But yeah, like you said, he's got 4 FKTs.
So that's weird. It's so weird to be like, oh, I was just testing it, but then thought, F it, I'm going to hammer. Like, what a weird, like.
Yeah. So he doesn't have to go back.
Yeah.
I mean, unless he's from that area and he regularly runs it. All right. Well, we are 40 minutes in and we still have a lot to cover because it is awards season. And all the results are in from the Ultra Running Magazine's Ultrarunners of the Year. And this is limited to North American runners, Canada, US, and I believe they include Mexico as well.
I mean, they should include all of. I mean, it should be Mexico, but it should be all the way down to Panama if it's North America.
Yeah, it is. It's Central America, North America, and Canada, all of North America.
Canada.
All right. So let's start with number 10. Oh,
am I drunk or is it in a really weird order?
Yeah. So what happened was they actually released some like Jamil Curry. He said we're going to do the top 3 international as well because they never used to do international. Okay, here we go. 10th place for the men, Ihor Varies. He was one of the finishers of Barkley this year.
Mm-hmm.
He won Hurt 100, which that's pretty incredible accomplishment in itself. He lives in Canada, and so he won the Barkley Marathon.
Yeah.
So he won Barkley and he won Hurt. Those two accomplishments are well deserving of being in the top 10. Marianne Hogan was 10th for the women, and she had an injury-plagued year in 2023, but then in 2024, she came back with 6th place at Transvolcania, 125K, and she won the Swiss Canyon Trail, 111K, and 3rd at UTMB. She used to be a triathlete. She lives in Montreal, born and raised there. All right. Now, number 9 for the men, Ben Demon. Ben, let's see. He won Madeira Island Ultra Trail in Portugal, 2nd at Trail Andorra, 100K, which is really tough, and 3rd at Diagonal des Fous. We all know how tough Diagonal des Fous is. Originally from Ohio. Huh. Hey. How about that? Ohio boy. Currently lives in the French Pyrenees. That's a pretty big jump,
right? Yeah.
Yeah. Hannah Allgood was 9th for the women. She's excellent on a variety of terrain. She won the rugged Eiger 101K in Switzerland, a very tough race. 2nd at the flat and fast Javelina Jundred in Arizona. She's a physical therapist, lives in Colorado Springs with her husband, Gil. Leah Yingling was 8th for the women. She had a win at Quad Rock 50 and Swiss Alps 50K. She posted 400 miles at that run, or at that 6-day run, at that Run Further event. And she had a good 100-miler at Run Rabbit Run and Western States. It didn't say what place she was in for those, but I think she did pretty well. She's a biomedical engineer for a medical device company, originally from Pennsylvania, lives in Salt Lake City with Mike McMonigal. And Harry Sabertus was 8th for the men. That's Geraldus Sabertus. He won Tahoe 200 and Cocodona 250. He ran in 4 200-mile races, originally from Lithuania, but he moved to the U.S. at age 18. He's a mountaineer, an environmental scientist. He lives in Haines, Alaska. Mary Denholm, 7th for the women. She won Leadville 100. Pretty impressive. she had the second fastest time at Leadville ever, behind Ann Trayson's course record. She won the Leadville Silver Rush 50 and placed second at JFK 50. She's an attorney, and she's a coach, and from Maryland, lives in Colorado. Do you want to do some of these?
It's a stacked year. It's a stacked year when Jim Walmsley's your number 7. Right. Yep. So, we all know Jim. So Jim's your number 7. Your number 6 for men is Caleb Olson. He was busy year. He had 8 Ultra finishes. Had a 14:40 5th place finish at Western States. And it's kind of funny because nothing crazy, but still a really solid year. Courtney Olson is your 6th place women's placer. Just another good one. She had a 5:31 and 56 clock time at Tunnel Hill. So
that was the world record 50 miler.
Yeah, that's your world record. She's also the one that ran Comrades. So she had a pretty cool year, really big year, obviously for her.
Third place at Comrades. And it's funny that both 6th place men, the male and female, their last name is Olson. It's spelled different.
That is, yeah.
No relation.
Olson and Olson. Eli Hemming is 5th place runner. Again, had 4 big runs this year. OCC did that from the UTMB. He won Black Canyon 60K on a course record, so pretty big year for him.
Yeah.
Megan Eckert, which if you recognize the name, we've talked about her. But her and Emily Hallgood tied for 4th in the women's voting this year, which is weird. That's quite the coincidence, but they both had 195 votes. And so you look at what they accomplished together.
She got second at Big's Backyard. Well, the assist.
One Angel's Crest.
Oh yeah.
So
that's huge.
Yeah. So big year. And then let's see. So go back to page 1 here. So it isn't so they start bouncing around kind of weird now.
Yeah. Wait a second.
Because now it's it bounces around because it gives you fourth.
Okay. So third, Emily Hallgood was tied with Megan for 4th. She got 4th at Western States, and she got 6th at UTMB. Rod Farvard got 4th for the men. He was 2nd at Western States. Gave Jim Walmsley a hell of a run. 3rd best time ever at Western States. Set a course record in Canyons 100K. And Rachel Drake was 3rd for the women. She won JFK 50, first woman to break 6 hours. So she set the course record. She won Black Canyon 100K and got 8th at Western States. Also finished her medical degree during the year. And she is married to Tyler Green. They moved from Portland to Salt Lake City this year.
Yeah.
David Sinclair, 3rd for the men.
This is kind of an interesting one, I think.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just think it's interesting because he's a mountain runner, right?
Yeah.
And so his quote unquote big accomplishment, I don't know, you could argue, was JFK 50.
Course record.
Yeah, set a course record JFK 50. So you're a mountain runner, but then you hammer a course record on a flat course. But it's hey, let's not forget I'm a mountain runner. And he won Broken Arrow Sky Race and he won Speed Goat 50K. Yeah. He set a course record at Speed Goat.
Oh man, that's tough.
Yeah, and so like kind of interesting year for
Yeah,
Sinclair.
I'm pretty sure Walmsley's run Speed Goat before, and Killian.
Yeah,
has run
yeah.
Speed. He won it one year. Killian did.
And so on the conversation about it being a stacked year, it is a ridiculously stacked year, right? It's what Walmsley took. What did we say Walmsley took? Walmsley took whatever Walmsley took. Seventh, right?
Yeah.
Courtney Daltwater is second. She takes second for Ultra Runner of the Year.
And her accomplishments are ridiculously awesome.
She's won Ultra Runner of the Year 5 times, and she took second this time. She won all 5 races she entered in 2024. So, okay, so you won all 5 races, including setting a course record at Mount Fuji and Hard Rock. And then she's been undefeated in Ultra since 2019. Like, it's insane. And oh, by the way, you still only took second in your Ultra voting. So that means this one was kind of like, this one also kind of surprised me, but I'm okay with it. David Roche took second for men. And we've talked about him a ton on this race. He seemed like, or on this podcast, I feel like he's one of our like weird favorites.
Yeah.
I feel like he's one of our weird favorites.
Yeah.
Ran his first 100-miler this year, right?
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, set a course record. It was Leadville 100.
Yeah.
Set a course record. Decided to run another 100, Javelina 100, and set a course record there too. Correct?
He did.
Yeah. And then he won. I think he won
Silver
Rush 50.
Wait, he might have been second to the course record at Avalon.
Okay. So
I'd have to look that up.
Anyways, pretty impressive year for David Roche, considering it's his first 100s ever he ran.
Yeah, and he won that Silver Rush 52, I think, right?
Yeah, he did. So if you're kind of keeping track of some of the runners we have mentioned and who we haven't mentioned, you probably noticed who our winners are. So the women's Ultra Runner of the Year is Katie Scheid, which I don't think it's any big surprise, right? Like what
very well deserved.
Yeah, what an effing year.
She led Western States 100 wire to wire.
Yeah.
I mean, in dominant fashion.
Yeah. Set a course record
at UTMB.
Yep. So
so those 2 races alone are, super high profile, super competitive. And she won Canyon's 100K.
I was going to say, speaking of super competitive, maybe not the most competitive 100K there is, but probably the second most competitive 100K, she won Canyons. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
because that got her in the Western States and UTMB.
Yeah. So Katie had herself a year. Now, I will say, like, this is the cool one, right? So Hayden
comeback story of the year. Number one.
Comeback, yeah. Your number one, your Ultra Runner of the Year for men is Hayden Hawks.
Yep.
So won the Triple C 101K race over on Mont Blanc. Won Black Canyon 100K.
Yeah.
So
those 2 alone are 2 of the most competitive races in the world. Period.
And he's not a spring chicken, and he's coming back from an injury, right?
That's right.
Really, really proud.
Very inspirational.
Now they
third at Western States too. He almost got second.
Yes. Yeah. He almost caught him on the trail or on the track, I think.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't list that in here.
Yeah. So they do have Ultra Runner of the Year does have a worldwide Ultra Runner of the Year.
Yeah. This is new this year.
Yeah. And so they're giving the number 3 people out right now. So I don't know if they gave the number 2 and number 1 somewhere else or what. Do you know?
It's every day they release a new one.
They're releasing
tomorrow will be number 2 and 1. So we'll have to do 2 and 1 next week.
So just as a little teaser, your number 3, and like I'm already anticipating. I got to know who 2 and 1 is, because your number 3 woman is Jasmine Paris.
Yeah.
Now, bro, like, I don't know who your number 2 and number 1 women are going to be in international worldwide Ultra Runner of the Year women.
Yeah.
But they better bring some fucking heat. Like, that's all I know. Because Jasmine will forever live as a legend in my mind. And so, and then,
I mean, she proved the world wrong.
She proved Laz wrong. She
yes.
made Laz even worse.
She finished Barkley, first woman to do so.
And then Vincent Boyard, is your number 3 worldwide Ultra Runner of the Year.
Yeah. He broke 20 hours in his very first UTMB attempt. Yeah. And by the way, he's not sponsored. He's not a sponsored athlete at all. No. And in his second 100-miler, he won Kodiak 100 in 2023. And then he was the first unsponsored runner to win UTMB in 20 years. And his only other 2024 race, he placed 5th at La Maxi race, 94K. But yeah, what a great story, you know.
It's wild. First unsponsored runner in 20 years.
Yeah.
Like, that is nuts.
That was really cool.
Yeah, it is funny, though, because you're talking about him being unsponsored. I mean, the dude is a engineer for Hoka.
Right. So in a sense, he's sponsored because he gets a paycheck from them.
Yeah, but I mean, it's kind of funny because, like, you know, that dude's got the best of the best shit from Hoka. You know what I mean? Like,
and he lives in Annecy, France, which is like crazy. A trail mecca.
Yeah. So those are your.
So I don't think we really have time to get into Free Trail's top 10 trail runners. Maybe we'll do that next week.
Yeah.
I do want to talk about this, though, today. Some news. Zach Bitter is stepping away from his sponsor, Ultra.
That's right. Yeah.
And he's been with Ultra for 11 years, but he's decided to step away to explore creating more educational content on running footwear. And he's going to be teaming up with Brady Homer to do some deep dives and reviews this year. So it looks like he's maybe going to get into like some scientific type stuff with shoes. So it'll be interesting to see what they come out with. I read a lot of the comments in this Instagram feed, and he actually responded to a lot of people that were commenting. So
like what? Like was there a certain like genre of comment that seemed to elicit a response from him?
No, I mean, he's kind of responding to all stuff, but one in particular that was interesting was somebody said, I noticed a big change in the Ultra shoe model with my recent pair. Not a fan of the change. Also not a fan that running shoe companies go off trends instead of what is best for human foot and body. And Zach responded, yeah, I definitely have thoughts, some mixed, on trends. On one hand, what the customer demands, the brands will make. So it's at least partly on us as customers to demand what we want. On the other hand, marketing can make it hard for customers to actually know what is best for them. In his opinion, the brands that really nail a niche market see the upcoming problems that will occur from the marketing from their more popular competitor. Ultra did this originally with foot shape and balance, but I wouldn't say they have done great at staying ahead of the market for upcoming trends. One I predict, as we are seeing it in the greater health space, is more growth in lower profile natural footwear. The super shoe growth, although great tools for performance, are probably not good for long-term foot and mechanics when overused. Yeah. I think the running world is poised for options to combat this. This will be a topic on his podcast during foot reviews, if interested.
Is there anyone on there? Did anyone go down the conspiracy theory rabbit hole of like, what if this is just his way of like slowly, like, what if this is just a little bit of a marketing thing on his side where him and some other buddies are coming up with their own shoe line, and this is our like slow marketing go to market ploy for it.
Yeah, I mean, anything's possible. That would be a pretty smart move.
You know what I mean? Like you do a couple of like, oh, today we're going to break down Nike. Today we're going to break down Ultra. Today we're going to break down Hoka, and then like you just keep kind of working through the different ones, and then you're like, here's what we think could be the best. Yeah. And it's like there's you know, like
I will say it is disappointing to see the quality of Ultra go down, because I've been in Lone Peaks for years, and honestly, I've tried other models, I've tried other brands, and nothing works for me except for Lone Peaks. But Lone Peak Ultra's making it harder and harder for me with their changes. It just gets a little worse every time, it seems like.
Yeah.
And so I get what he's saying. Or, you know, he didn't directly say that, but I believe that's kind of where he's going.
Are you going to crack open the wallet and go for a pair of those Jornets?
Oh, it's tempting, but if there's a heel raise, but he said you can make them minimal, so right? Or you can make them flat, I think.
I know he said that, but I keep going. So I know Cole has said that, right? Mm-hmm. So I keep going to the website, right, to try to mess with because there's 3 different insoles you can put in, and I keep going there to try and mess with it, but it never tells you it doesn't tell you the drop of any of the insoles. So, and I don't know how you'd put multiple insoles in. You can't put two of the 3 in at the same time. So I know Cole said, you can make it to where it is 0 drop. I don't know how. Yeah. Because I would assume you have to have one of the 3 insoles in there. But
maybe we'll have to have him on to talk about that.
Have him back on and break it down for us like we're 3-year-olds. Like, listen, man, I need you to fucking talk to me like I'm a 5-year-old here. Like, what are we doing? So
yeah, right. But it'll be interesting to see what he does. You know, like there's shoe companies out there that they're in it for quality, and they're in it for the runner, and that's like Speedland. Those guys came from like Nike and somewhere else, and they, those shoes cost over $300 a pair though, but they're supposed to be pretty legit for quality and all that, but I'm not there. I'm not willing to drop twice the amount of money that I pay for Lone Peaks. So.
I mean, I'm the same guy that I'll wait and pick up 2 pairs of last season's Ultras off from Why am I drawing a blank on that? The website, Running Warehouse.
Running Warehouse. Okay.
I'll pick up 2 of last season's for like $69. You know what I mean? It's like it's just too damn expensive. But I will say I have been messing around. I'm still running in those flux capacitors.
Yeah, I meant to ask you about that.
They're actually weirdly growing on me.
Nice.
They're weirdly growing on me.
Cool.
But hey, let's take the last 10 minutes or so of the show.
Yeah.
And let's do our 3 T's.
We're gonna get into our 3 T's. We need
tips, tricks. We need music. Tips, tricks, and thoughts. We need like an intro to this segment.
That's what we need. We need an intro like tips, tricks, thoughts.
Yeah, like Sunday.
That's right. All right. Well, do you want? Okay. So we're going to talk about blisters, and I think we can talk about how do each of us go about preventing blisters, and B, what do we do when we get a blister during a race? Now, I run in Gingy toe socks, and Gingy toe socks are great for blister control for many reasons. One, they they, each toe has its individual compartment, and it prevents the rubbing of the two, toes together. Two, they're form fitting, so your foot can slide around in the shoe and it doesn't create friction on your skin. And three, they're pretty good even when they're wet. They seem to dry out pretty good, and they don't and they don't cause blisters. They usually don't cause blisters. And I went for years running in Gingy and not had one single blister. But it did happen eventually in, I think, Bear 100. And I think I would put a new pair of Gingy on before washing them and drying them, so they were maybe a little loose. I had some blisters on my toes. And since I usually wasn't used to getting blisters, I
don't know what to do.
Yeah, I didn't really have anything for blister care. Now, what I did have was some duct tape, and I took my Gingy off, and I took duct tape, and just raw dog. I didn't even put a Band-Aid or anything. I just put blister tape right around my toes where the blisters were, and I put the Gingies back on, and I was fine the rest of the race. Didn't even feel it. The only problem with that is at the end of the race, taking that duct tape off, no bueno, because those blisters came off with it. It was a mess. But
so
anyway.
Yeah. So for me, blister prevention kind of breaks down to a couple things, right? One, keeping your feet dry and clean. It's at the end of the day, it's that simple, right? Dry and clean. Keep your feet dry and clean. So, water crossing, change your shoes. Change your your shoes. Change your socks. Right, your feet get wet. Change your socks.
Especially in a 100 miler.
Yeah. If you're a sweater, right? Like if you're a person that sweats a shit ton, dude or dudette, it's going to suck. You're going to have to change your socks more than another person, maybe, right? So, one, keep your feet dry. It's funny, Chaz and Ronnie, like this is years into me running, and like Chaz and Ronnie made this like very aha kind of comment of alcohol. Use rubbing alcohol to wash it, to dry your feet off because it's immediately. So keeping your feet really, really dry, changing socks, keep them dry. The other thing that I get that I'm going to be on an island on this one. Do not put cream or don't put anything on your feet, right? The nut butter. Don't put Glide. Don't put anything on your feet that can collect grit. Don't do that. I don't understand people that do that. It's just going to grab that grit and it's going to rub your feet raw. It's sandpaper. The other thing that immediately comes to my mind, dry, clean feet. The other thing that comes to my mind is kind of what you're talking about with the Gingies. Give your feet and toes room to breathe. I used to love Hoka. I used to be a speed goat homer. Loved them. and then I finally came to the appreciation of these things are butchering my toes. These things are eating my toes alive. And so those are my big ones. Now, here's another one where I'm on an island and it is what it is. And it's just I think it's this old military thing in my head of if you get a blister, I'm leave the effing thing alone. I don't you sure as shit don't pop it. Don't put those stupid little toe condom effing things, like them dumbass toe condom things. Don't put those on your toes because I don't do the duct tape. If I get a blister, TS, I got a blister. I'm going to run through. You just kind of block the pain out and you run through it. You know what I mean? Your foot's not going to fall off. That blister is a long way from your heart. It's not going to kill you.
Yeah.
Because my thing is anything additional I put in there, whether it's moleskin, duct tape, anything, it's going to give, and it's just going to be an additional friction point. So it's for me, it's all about the blister prevention. And then if you're unlucky, you get one, fucking TS Buttercup, suck it up, because anything else you put in there, you're more likely just going to make it worse. And I know I'm probably on an island on that one, but that's how I've always gotten down with them. And I just sent you a picture of some really great blisters I got.
Okay. I was going to say, and I forgot to say it, only for 100-mile race before the start, I'll take Foot Glide and put on my callus, only on my callus on the outside or on the inside of my big toe. Yeah. Just because those calluses, they start to hurt after a while. Yeah. I don't know why, but I usually just put Foot Glide only for the start. I don't put it like throughout the race. Yeah. And it's not really on the bottom of my foot. It's mainly on the side. And it may be in between my toes a little bit, but and Gingy socks seem to do a good job of keeping the grit out. So.
Yeah, I do. It is funny because like I run predominantly. If I'm doing anything, I would go 50 miles or more. I'm probably running in Gingy's 50K or less. I might still put on Gingy's, but I might also still run in like I do really like Darn Tough.
Oh yeah, it's a good brand. Like Darn Tough.
It's weird. Also, Chaz, our dude Chaz, that dude runs in Balegas, which is like you don't come across many people running Balegas. Yeah. But like he lives and dies on Balegas. So I know we had a listener reach out about this. That's the other weird thing about it. Your feet are going to like or dislike. Your feet are going to like or dislike different kinds of things. And it's just about playing around with different products and finding what works best for you. Those are some good blisters, aren't they?
Oh my God, dude. That's nasty. I don't know how you, I will say though, if you do get a blister on the bottom of your foot, you should probably address it somehow. My suggestion is if you are going to pop it, to make sure you sanitize whatever you're going to use, because I know somebody that got an infection from, actually, I gave him one of the pins from my bib.
Fuck no.
We didn't have anything. I gave him one of the pins from my bib and he popped it. And I don't think the infection came from that. I think it was from.
Oh no, it definitely wasn't from the dirty ass bib pin that you gave him. Yeah, definitely wasn't.
I think it honestly was from a campground shower, to be honest with you. But
all the more reason what's funny is I don't pop the blister. Don't pop the blister.
I will say you got to stop the friction though, because you won't be able to walk if that blister is underneath your foot. If it's like big, just got to be careful. But you're right though. What you said, prevention is the answer.
It's it's almost like there's a saying for that, right? An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
And that's a fact when it comes to blisters.
It's so true. It's so true in ultra running and blisters and everything else. Yeah. Chafing.
Yeah. And I do have one story that I need to tell before we go. So our listener got one running. He's the one that brought up blisters as a topic. And I think it's a great topic. I like talking about it. He mentioned that Fixing Your Feet by, what's his name? John Bonhoff or something. Anyway, so this guy wrote this book and he's like the expert on, John Bonhoff, and he's the expert on foot care and running ultras, and this guy's at Western States a lot. And it's funny because when we crewed for Ron DeLozier at Western States, so Ron got into the 100K mark at Forest Hill, and he had some blister problems, and he was a little bit behind where he wanted to be at that point. And he was like, I'm going back into medical to get these blisters taken care of or addressed. And the person that was back there was the Fixing Your Feet author, John Bonhoeff. It was his protege, this girl, I can't remember her name. But anyways, so we're out there, and I don't think crew is allowed to the aid station area.
Yeah.
And so Chaz and I are just standing there at, waiting, and he's like 15 minutes goes by, and Chaz is starting to get like, he's starting to get angry. Yeah. He's like, what the fuck's going on here? Like, what is it? And he's like, fuck it, I'm going back there to find out what's going on. Like 20 minutes in. So he goes back there, and I'm like, oh man, what the hell's going on? And they're back there like maybe another 10 minutes. And Chaz comes out, maybe 5 minutes. He comes out. She's sitting there talking his ear off, chatting away. He was so mad. Oh my God, it was so funny. But it is a good thing that Ron did get that addressed and taken care of, because he was able to make up a lot of time and, finish Western State, get his buckle at Western States.
Yeah.
Whereas if he wouldn't have got it taken care of, his race could have been in jeopardy. So, moral of the story: make sure you address problems as they come. Don't wait. That was a funny time. So
yeah, I've heard that story multiple times from Chaz and Ron. It's so funny listening. They're two perspectives of that story.
Right, yeah, and I was lucky enough to have a firsthand account. It was pretty hilarious, really. All right, well, good episode. We didn't hit our goal of coming in an hour, but I think awards season is takes up some time. So what are you gonna do?
It is what it is.
Yeah, but thanks everyone for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the show, enjoyed our conversation, and hit us up on the socials. They're in the show notes. Let us know what's going on with you, and let us know if there's anything you want us to talk about on the show. We're glad to have some ideas, and typically every time somebody reaches out to us, we usually talk about whatever it is that they have on their mind. So hit us up. All right. Well, have a good long run this weekend, and we'll
talk to you next week.
See you next week.
Thanks.